Now, performance-wise, as I said before, this thing has that Apple A12Z Bionic chip, octa-core CPU, and 6 gigs of RAM on each model. Now, I can only assume that the iPad Air 4 has 4 gigs of RAM at max, so this thing still has more RAM than those devices too, which is really cool. And what I can tell you is the performance on this iPad has been extremely good as well. So far, nothing has been happening. I haven't really, heard any crazy complaints about this, no recalls, no nothing like that, which is a huge plus for this device. So when you get this iPad, you're probably not going to have an iPad that's super unstable or anything like that. And I've really only heard good things about these specific iPads. So that's the first thing I want to say. Now, the next thing I want to say is that for pretty much any use case that you can think of for an iPad, you're going to be having an extremely smooth experience from this. The mixture of the performance, the mixture of that top tier A12Z chip, not as top tier as A14, but with that 6 gigs of RAM. And on top of that, with that 120 Hz refresh rate, you are still going to be having an iPad and just a tablet in general that's going to outcompete a lot of other devices in the market. I just came off comparing and reviewing the Galaxy Tab S7, and that thing was super expensive. I can't believe how expensive that thing was too. It's almost, I think it's just as expensive as the iPads. And what I can tell you is that performance was pretty smooth. It was a pretty good experience overall, but I still look at my iPad Pro and I'm like, this thing is super fast, even compared to a lot of MacBooks, even the M1 MacBook. I compared those two things. And even there, I pretty much saw that I think the smoothness factor is still there for these iPads. It's just so fluid. It's just so smooth. I would almost every single time pick a MacBook over an iPad though, but you're going to still be getting a really smooth experience from an iPad Pro. So without a doubt, I would definitely tell you the iPad Pro 4th generation, even though we got that rocky iPad OS 14 update, even though we have an iPad Air 4 that's technically has a better chipset than this thing, this iPad Pro still has so much going for it that it's really such like a no-brainer. Like this is a really, really good iPad at the end of the day. So for sure, thumbs up for me in my books in the performance segment. Now,